What are lipids? Lipids are organic molecules that are composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. They have a lower ratio of oxygen, which makes them less polar. Lipids can readily be dissolved in non-polar organic solvents, such as alcohol or acetone. And they are relatively insoluble in water, which will form a separate layer when lipid is added to water. Lipids have numerous essential functions. It can be stored in our body and be broken down for energy, and they supply more energy than carbohydrates or protein. However, carbohydrates are still our primary source of energy. It also provides protections, which the fat surrounds the organs and provide paddings. Lipids help to regulate body temperatures. For structure, phospholipids and cholesterol play important roles as part of the component of the cell membranes. Lipids, such as steroid hormones, regulate physiological processes. Another function of lipids is to absorb the fat-soluble vitamins in the diet, and each of these vitamins performs a variety of functions. There are 4 classes of lipids, such as fats, phospholipids, ecosynoids, and steroids. Fats are a major type of lipid. The fats that we ingest are broken down by hydrolysis reactions in cells for energy, whereas the excess fat will be stored in the body for later use when the fat intake is high. Fats also provide protections by surrounding and padding the organs. The fats under the skin act as an insulator to help in preventing heat loss. Triglycerides made up about 95% of the fats in the human body. It consists of 2 different types of molecules, the 2 different building blocks, which are 1 glycerol and 3 fatty acid molecules. The fatty acid molecule is a chain of carbon atoms. The fatty acids are differentiated according to their length and the degree of saturation, which is the number of hydrogen atoms in the carbon chains. A saturated fatty acid contains a single covalent bond between the carbon atoms. Beef and butter are a few of the food sources that contain saturated fats. Saturated fats usually stay solid even at a room temperature, whereas the unsaturated fatty acid contains 1 or multiple double covalent bonds between the carbon atoms. These allow the carbon chains to bend and making them stay in liquid forms at the room temperature. The unsaturated fatty acid, which contains only 1 double covalent bond, is known as monounsaturated fats. It is such as olive oil or peanut oil. Whereas the unsaturated fatty acid, which contains multiple double covalent bonds, is known as polyunsaturated fats. It is such as sunflower oil or fish oil. However, there is another type of unsaturated fats known as trans fats. They are chemically altered by the additioning or positioning of the hydrogen atoms in the carbon chains. This chemical altering process makes the fat more saturated. Therefore, it becomes more solid and stable at room temperature, and this means longer shelf life. The changes in structure or the positioning of hydrogen makes the consumption of trans fats a greater risk factor for cardiovascular disease than saturated fats. Trans fats are found mainly in processed food. Phospholipids are quite alike to triglycerides, except that one of the fatty acid is replaced by a phosphate molecule. A phospholipid has a polar end where the phosphate region is bound. It is known as hydrophilic head because it is attracted to water. Whereas the nonpolar end is known as hydrophobic tail because it is repelled by water. Phospholipids are essential structural components of the cell membranes. And the presence of unsaturated fatty acids contributes to the fluidity of the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is highly flexible, and its shape and composition can be shifted and changed over time. The fluidity of the lipid bilayer provides an important vehicle for the distribution of molecules within the plasma membrane and allows the membranes to fuse. Ecosynoids are inflammatory mediators formed from polyunsaturated fatty acids in the phospholipid membrane in most cells, such as arachidonic acids. They are important regulatory molecules and function as messenger lipids. Ecosynoids include prostaglandin and thromboxane, which are prostanoids that are involved in control of inflammation, regulation of certain hormones, and blood clotting. Ecosynoids also include leukotrienes, which is mainly found in white blood cells, platelets, and lungs. Steroids are composed of carbon atoms that are bound together into 4 ring-like structures. Steroid molecules include cholesterol, bile salts, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, which are the reproductive hormones. Cholesterol is an important steroid because it is involved in synthesizing other steroid molecules, such as bile salts, which are derived from cholesterol. Bile salts are found in bile, which are stored in the gallbladder. It is involved in the fat absorption in the intestines. Reproductive hormones are also derived from cholesterol, such as estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Estrogen and progesterone are important hormones in the female body, while testosterone is an important hormone in the male body. Another class of lipid is fat-soluble vitamins. Their structure are not closely related to the other classes of lipids. However, the fat-soluble vitamins are essential for normal body functions. They are absorbed along with fats in the diet. Fat-soluble vitamins include vitamin A, D, E, and K. It is important for us to have the adequate amount of fat intakes in our daily diets.